Hey folks, it's Eric from Support Adventure and greetings from Belgrade, Serbia. I wanted to make this video about why I love working in Belgrade, Serbia as an IT professional and how I think it's a great place. If you're, wanting a place to work remotely, well, it's one of the best lifestyle cities in Europe, in my opinion. So I first came here in 2006 as a traveler in my 20s and, I'd already started my own IT business in Canada and I fell in love with the city actually, and I ended up moving here in 2008. Back then, it's a lot different than it is now. It's a lot more developed now, and I don't know. I fell in love with the people. I fell in love with the lifestyle. I fell in love with the food, quality and ingredients, just the city, the urbanism, all that stuff. It was super convenient and super accessible somehow because a lot of people here speak English. And so in 2008, I came here to live here the first time. And then I lived 3 months in Canada, 3 months in Serbia, 3 months in Canada, 3 months in Serbia for about 3 years from 2008 till 2011. So during those 3 years, I realized that this place was massively improving. And a lot of the things that I loved about living in North America were coming here based on the Americanization. It's everywhere: shopping malls, fast food, all that stuff, whatever. And basically, yeah, so I came here and my life was just really good. I lived in the city center, was able to walk everywhere I needed to go. People were friendly, speaking English, really easy to make friends. And there's always something happening in the city, always something that you could go to. And even if you were like working late, working past midnight, and you wanted to go and buy some beers at 2 in the morning, you could do that within your own neighborhood. Just everything was super accessible, convenient, and stuff like that. So starting 2013, I set up here as, basically I wanted to work location independently. I didn't want to have to go back to Canada as I had previously. To make money. So, in 2009, I started running my business from here with voice over IP lines and sending guys out on site to my clients in Toronto, Canada. And basically, that worked well. And I knew that in 2009, the idea was not yet fully blossomed of the digital nomad. So I waited until 2013. And at that point, it became incredibly feasible to work from here. So the cost of living is very cheap. I rented an apartment in 2013 for 200 euros a month, and I was able to live there. And my whole lifestyle cost 800 euros a month. I found a company in London that I could work for remotely, and they paid me more than that, and I was happy. And you know, it was just a very good lifestyle to be able to slow down and be in the neighborhood, work from my kitchen, learn how to slow cook stuff, and I built my business, Support Adventure, based on the basis of that lifestyle. So since then, we've gone around the world and we found people in like 16 different countries who we've hired, and they're doing work for us online with the same model. Everyone's very happy, but Belgrade is still my base. You know, I like it from like March until October, when the weather's warm. In the winter, not so much, but it's not that bad. It's a milder winter than, for example, in Canada, what they had there when I lived there. So yeah, just stuff like there is a tech community here. There are lots of smart people who are interested in having smart conversations about interesting stuff. So if you want people to meet with, there's certainly tech community here. There's tech community centers, there's tech meetups and all that stuff. You can find that. There's like they call it Silicon Drink About, I think is a thing where they all get drunk and go bar to bar to bar. I haven't been to one of those because I mostly work in the cloud, and my socializing doesn't have that much to do with tech actually, because, you know, but if you want that, you can find it. Internet, it works here. It really works. Home connections have like 10 megs up, 100 down, sort of thing. 4G connections that you can get for 12 gigabytes for 10 US dollars a month on a prepaid plan with some of the providers here will run you a connection of like 25 megabits up and down that you can work from anywhere. So literally, you can just go and sit at any cafe, and it works flawlessly. You can go and sit at any cafe in Belgrade outside on the patio when the weather's nice, and you can open your laptop and know that you will have internet 3 or 4G. And a lot of places have Wi-Fi, which is pretty consistent as well. And those two, you'll always be online. You never have to worry about being offline because it's so cheap, so easy. You can stop at any kiosk and top up your phone. Even getting a SIM card. If you walk up to any kiosk and get a SIM card, you can get it in like 2 minutes. If you walk into a store of any of the mobile providers, like Telenor or VIP, you'll get it in like 2 minutes. They'll activate for activate it for you. You don't even have to show your passport or anything. And you can just keep on buying prepaid packages, no burden of a plan. It's just so easy to be online with 4G. The home internet connections work really well. And yeah, it's just a very livable place to be an IT professional. The time zone is 6 hours ahead of US Eastern time, 1 hour ahead of UK time. That's not so bad if you're doing business with America. Usually I work until about 8 p.m. taking calls with America on the days that I do. And that's 2 p.m. on Eastern. And you also have until 11 a.m. on the Pacific time zone to catch up with those people who are used to waking up early. So a lot of the time they're at 8 a.m. It's 5 p.m. here, and that's fine as well. So Pacific time. Keeping in touch with Asia, there's like a 5 hour difference to Thailand, to Vietnam, where we have some guys there as well. That's good. So you really feel like time zone wise, you're in the center of the world. You're in the middle of all of it. You can reach everybody based on if you're willing to work a little later, wake up a little earlier. Rarely do we have this much flexibility in terms of like the times that we can work. So that's really good. What are the disadvantages? Well, I would say that, you know, it's harder to get equipment here, new equipment specifically, or specialized equipment. I mean, I buy like used Lenovo ThinkPad laptops for about 200 euros, which are great. They come after they're off lease from like Germany or Sweden and stuff, and they just end up here and they're super cheap, super reliable, great machines. I've bought like things with 8 gigs of RAM, and i5, and an SSD hard drive for 180 euros, and a touchscreen even. So that's cheap, like if you want to get those basic refurbished computers. But new computers, I would not recommend you buy them here. So if you're coming here, bring a nice new computer from wherever you think it's a good place to buy it, because this is not a good place to buy a new computer. But the used stuff, yeah, if you search for it, it's really good. There's a site called Kupuyem Prodajem. I guess we can get that in the description here, and it's good for finding that used stuff. And yeah, it works. It's in Serbian though. Yeah, the language is pretty hard to learn, but the number of people that speak English will mean that you do not have to have a full life here. So this is one of the few countries I feel where they're very welcoming to foreigners and very willing to speak English. And they're actually a lot nicer to foreigners in Belgrade when speaking English than they are to Serbian people living in Belgrade who speak Serbian. So people here, they're kind of prickly to each other in certain sarcastic ways, but they're very welcoming to foreigners. Having been here for so long, I've learned the language enough that I hear what people are telling each other, and it's like, you guys are prickly. But foreigners will not feel that in the same way, because they'll meet lots of friendly people who are willing to speak English and want to give a good impression of Serbia. And yeah. So just to sum it up, if you're an IT professional, oh yeah, one last thing. If you want to register a business here, there's a really small business construction called Preduzetnik Paušalac, which is basically a flat tax for self-employed people, like beginning entrepreneurs or something like that, starting off their own business. It's just you working in your company. And the tax rates can be, less than 10% on that sort of business construction here if you register that here. And you can get a residence permit based on that tax construction. So it's really a good deal if you're starting out your business, and that sort of flat tax goes up to about 48 or 50,000 euros a year of income. And basically, yeah, I mean, for me, that was a really good way to start working here and getting it going, and building my clients up, getting work and all that stuff. So look into that, and yeah, then once you get that residence, you can just stay here. And it's also a very easy country to come and go from. There's flights. You're one connection away from reaching the rest of the world, basically through, those Arab airlines like Emirates and, and those European airlines like KLM, Air France, Lufthansa, so on and so forth. And there's even a direct flight by Air Serbia to New York City. So you're not isolated. You're not like deep within Eastern Europe in some backwater place. You're in a place that's cultural, that has a connection and an affinity for Western culture, but also is a little bit exotic. And, everything works here, but there's a lot of chaos that's interesting to observe in the society. And it's like kind of a nice point of like, consistency and stability and inconsistency and instability that makes life exciting. So that's why I live in Belgrade. That's why I think a lot of people who are more adventurous and want a place to be a tech professional working remotely might also like Belgrade. So I hope you enjoy it. And yeah, catch you later.